My name is Josh Grossman. I am your host. With me, as always, Jeff Hahn, Landon Rush. This is Fantasy Inception Dynasty Edition. Now, what we were getting to before the tech issues was the Dalvin Cook release and where we thought he was going to go. Landon, you're worried that he goes to Miami and ruins.
I am. That's what it seems all the signs are pointing to at this point with him posting some stuff on Instagram lately. So I'm rooting against that for my Dynasty Devon A-Chain share. So hopefully it goes elsewhere, but I'm waiting for that alert at any time saying he's going to Miami.
Jeff, where do you think he's going to go?
Yeah, I mean, if he's not heading down U.S. Highway 1, to Miami there, South Beach, I have to imagine that he's might find himself in the Cowboys uniform. I could see Dallas maybe trying to pull him in. This might be a nice landing spot. And, with Pollard obviously being the only guy there, certainly could be a nice 1-2 combination with those two. So if he can stay healthy. Landon, I don't think you have that much to worry about. Yes, I get that you have shares of A-Chain, but he was never going to be the guy in that system. I mean, it's already a crowded backfield as it is.
With two very old, mediocre, injury-prone guys.
And now you're going to bring in Cook, who's got another very old, good, but injury-prone running back as well. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's still very strong.
Yeah, I didn't think A-Chain would be a workhorse, but Dalvin Cook going there would really kind of hurt him. Where do you think he's going, Grossman?
Landon, you should sell low. I think he's going to go to Buffalo, the Cook brothers.
That would be nice. Denver has been rumored as well.
I heard.
I don't know. Not if they get Hopkins. If they get Hopkins, they can't afford Cook.
Denver is the?
No, if Buffalo.
Oh, yeah. We'll see. I just want these players to just sign already.
Absolutely. I want them to get on injury reserve so I can start building out my roster already. This is such a joke just looking at my team.
All right, let's talk rookie draft.
Meanwhile, everybody's picking up people off of waivers that I want. And
Why can't you pick up anybody?
I feel like I'm handcuffed with some of the guys on my team right now. There's nobody to drop.
Just cut them. We'll look at your team later, and we'll tell you who you should cut.
I bet, yeah.
All right.
Starting with CD Lamb, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah, no, just trade him to me. We were talking about Landon's prep. Jeff, how did
Landon popped his cherry with his first draft?
Yeah, I don't know what was recorded or whatnot, but
Fantasy,
a lot of Twitter,
Dynasty Draft.
And mock drafts. What you got, Geoff?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I was watching the tape, watching the film. I was downloading YouTube clips on every one of these guys that I knew that could potentially be there come my turn. I was making calls to GMs. I was making calls to their coaches. I was getting all this information that I could, trying to evaluate who would be the best fit for my football program.
This is the draft analysis we've all been working on for the last 2 months.
And other than that, just the usual, following the Twitter, and going out and listening to some podcasts and doing a few mock drafts. So, yeah, nothing extensive. Pretty much the same stuff that Lana did. Yes, I got on and I fooled around watching a few tapes, a few highlight reels of certain players just to make sure that I like what I saw. But they passed my eye test, and pretty much everyone did when I saw them. So. It's their best stuff from when they were in college, right? But I think honestly, one thing that is super helpful though is if you watch the senior or the senior bowl that they have, the senior bowl in college, you can see kind of some of these guys who are clearly going against top talent that's going to be out there on both sides of the ball. And if you see guys making plays on the offensive side, you kind of got to, turn your head a little bit and think, yeah, that guy might have some success in the NFL as well. So that's maybe one thing that maybe I did a little bit differently than the things that Landon already mentioned as well.
Yeah. I'll say if you go on YouTube and you put the player that you want to see and then just verse, it'll pop up a bunch of different games, and then you could watch like a cut version of just the plays that player's in. So it's like 4 minutes long, and that gives you a little bit better feel for how that player looks versus the highlights where, like you said, Jeff, it always looks like they're fantastic.
Put the player in and it burst?
Versus, like,
Versus.
Devin A. Chain versus, and then it'll be like, UCLA or something, and then you could just watch game tape.
Yeah.
The
other thing is, I mean, sorry to interrupt. First time this year. It won't happen again.
See, now that's some bullshit.
So the other thing that you can do, though, I mean, you kind of know the mock draft, right? So there's no point in me going out as what was like the 10, 11 pick and looking at, other than just like interesting to know like what Bijan looks like, but there's no real point of me researching Bijan or Anthony Richardson or guys that I know aren't going to be there, right? So don't waste your time when there's certain guys that you just kind of know are going to go off the board 1 through 5. But yeah, maybe start at the 6, 7, 8 spot. Maybe thinking that if one of those guys slips to you, who is it going to be that you might be happy to get, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I did it before the NFL draft, which gave me a little bit of a feel for which guys I liked compared to then how did they get drafted.
Absolutely. I mean, you're just hoping the right landing spots, right? I mean, then you start to piece it together from there. Like you already kind of know, like this guy is a stud. Just give him an opportunity, and then the landing spot is either decent or good or terrible.
Yeah.
And it moves him up or down your board, right? So,
So did the rookie draft go the way that you thought it would, or was there any surprises?
for the most part, I think it went the way that I thought that I was expecting. Honestly, I guess you had made note of it earlier too. I mean, yes, I thought it was going to be weeks, right? Maybe or at least a week, but we completed it in roughly 24 hours. Full 24 hours sort of thing, didn't we? I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, Moreau was panicking when I would text him and be like, "You're almost on the clock," and he'd be like, "I don't know anything. What?"
I think I was the longest wait with the Will Levis decision.
That's
because I was pissed. I did that last night. I told you guys that. I'm like, F this.
Let's talk about the actual draft. First round, did it go the way that you thought it would? Was there any big surprises, any reaches, any really good values in that first round?
No real surprises in the first round, as far as I can tell. I mean, maybe the only reach was actually myself with Rice. Kincaid, maybe. I guess I don't. Maybe I think he could have slipped to the second as well, but maybe Landon went out and got his guy, so good for him. But yeah, it went according to plan, I guess.
Yeah, agreed. I thought Rice. You had given a little bit of a hint at Landon's birthday party that you were looking at potentially reaching, so it wasn't too much of a shock. But I thought Rice was maybe a little bit of a reach. Zach Charbonnet is the one who I don't think it was a reach, but I think you and Landon at the back end of the first had really tough decisions because it was just a mishmash of players in bad landing spots or players who might not be as good, but they're in good landing spots. So we'll see what comes out of that. Landon.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it later when we maybe talk about what the strategy was as we go into it. I think that was one of the questions we had lined up. So
no, just go.
Okay. Well, it was tough. Like I knew I wanted Charbonnet. Like I knew when he was there, I was going to take him no matter what. Like I like the situation. I like the talent. I think he can beat out Walker.
You like the situation. Interesting.
Seattle's a run-first heavy team, man. Why would I not like that? He's a running back.
He's got a stud in front of him that's also very young.
I know Walker's good, but I think he can beat him out, is what I'm saying. If anything, it's going to be a 60-40 split. So, okay, sign me up for that. But yeah, I mean, so aside from that, like, then I knew I wanted a wide receiver, like, at some point, and I wanted a top guy. I was really hoping for Flowers to fall to me, so that was kind of a bummer when he didn't one round before. I wanted Mingo. I thought I could get away with letting him slip to the second round. He was my target the entire time. I should have just taken him there. But instead, I got kind of lured into wanting a piece of Kansas City's offense and the departure of Juju. You know, he's the big body out of all the receivers that they have there. So I just hope he can flash and take over one of those wide receiver positions on what is a very pass heavy team, right? So yeah, I reached for him there, and we'll just see how it all plays out, I guess. But I mean, yes, I would have like Miller was obviously on my radar.
Glad you didn't
AJ
take
was on my radar. Bigsby was on my radar. All three of those guys. I mean, Miller probably would have been. I just didn't want to go running back in that position, and maybe I should have just taken the value. I mean, given Miller's situation of most likely going to get the start at least the first 6 games, right? Maybe I should have just taken him there, but I didn't. So.
Yeah. Landon, give us your take on the first round. What was any surprises or reaches or steals in your eyes?
Well, obviously the biggest reach is Rashee Rice. I mean, there's no question about that. But I don't know. I mean, the mock drafts that I did, being in the 12 spot, it's just sleeper, so they kind of go off of ADP. But I rarely ever got Dalton Kincaid, so I was pretty happy that he fell to me. I don't know if some experts say you never take a rookie tight end, but I'm a little.
Yeah. Can you name like the last? I mean, other than Kyle Pitts, can you name the last tight end to get drafted to be successful in their very first year after the draft?
No, most likely not. And
yeah, exactly.
It's just
because there hasn't been one.
I met.
It takes about 3 years.
What was Ingram when was he a first rounder?
I don't know.
Because he did his first year with the Giants.
Yeah,
right?
I think he had like one of the best rookie seasons. Yeah, I mean it's probably not going to be fantastic, but he's also kind of, he's just like Kyle Pitts was. He's not like a traditional tight end. You hear him like possibly lining up in the slot. I'm more partial to him because I have Josh Allen, so I like that stack. So I've seen some mock drafts where he goes, 1-7, 1-8 or whatever. So I was happy to get him at 12.
Yeah, it's hard to I think a lot of us listen to the same sort of podcasts, and what they say, the experts say about taking a tight end, like you guys said, is that it takes years before they're actually worth it. And so it's easier to trade for that guy before they hit rather than spend the rookie pick and have him just sitting on your bench. But it's hard to pass up a really talented guy like Kincaid for any one of these other guys who's in a very confusing situation where you don't know whether or not you're going to get anything out of them the first year or ever, really. So
yeah, I went with highest ceiling. So in my mind, that was the highest ceiling pick at that point. But Grossman, can I ask you a question regarding your draft, because you had a ridiculous amount of first round picks? Did you get any trade offers, or were you thinking of like doing some trades, or was your?
Yes, I was, and I'm still in discussions, but I don't think anything will materialize. Blackman, who has the 101, I was sending him trade offers every few weeks for months with no response, and then finally, like 2 weeks before the rookie draft, he messaged saying he never looked at any of that stuff. He initially tried offering me the 101 for Herbert and the 103, in which I said, go fuck yourself. And then towards the end, we were close to doing the 101 for the 1-3 and 1-4, but I couldn't pull the trigger.
Oh.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
I thought that was what you were going to do for me, right? I mean, if I had 101, I was ready to trade it off for 103 and 104.
Gibbs hit, I don't know. JS, I don't have any, so I have 2 other like Dynasty leagues that I started at the same time as ours, and I don't have any JSN and no Gibbs, and I don't know, I want a piece of that, so we'll see. I have a trade offer out to Blackman, but we'll see if anything materializes. Other than that, no, not really. Jeff, do you?
I have real quick. I have sources on the ground that that say that you were offered something very juicy for the number 6 pick that you turned down?
Yeah. I've talked to Bino about this because it's apples to oranges. So one of the things I wanted to discuss with you guys is the trades that happened during the draft. Really, there was only one trade of draft picks during the draft. The other trade was Bino getting Devontae Adams, Kelsey, Dak Prescott, and I don't know, some garbage from Elliott to Jewish Ditka for Swift, Higgins, Goddard, and Goff, which is very beneficial to Bino.
For this year.
Elliott, what? What's
for
up?
this year.
For this year and probably at least one more year. Elliott tried trading me the 106 for just Kelsey, in which I said no because I couldn't take the chance that Kelsey just retires after this year. Had Elliott said, give me the 1-6 and something else for Kelsey and Adams, I would have jumped at that in a second. So the 1-6 for Kelsey was just too much. If I had like the 1-7, 1-8, something that wasn't, those top 6 guys, I would have done it. But
wouldn't you, like, if you wanted Gibbs and JSN, you could have taken them at 3 and 4, then you could have Kelsey at 6.
So I needed
but you love your, backup quarterback. Then for
I needed a third QB, and I had traded Pickett previously already to Moreau, so I needed to take Young. But even still, I didn't want to trade one of those top 6 for just Kelsey.
I was offered a trade that would have messed that entire situation up, that entire trade up. Because I was offered Swift for 1.9, I believe, or 1.10, whatever I had there.
Were you thinking about taking it?
I guess 1.11, 1.10 or 1.11, and I was offered Swift, but I turned it down.
Yeah, Bino got a very nice deal.
But then 45 minutes later, that trade went down.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I could have blown it all up.
Yeah, he's going to be. It makes it very difficult to see anybody beating him this year, but we'll see. Second round,
once a week.
Yeah. Let's talk second round. What did you guys did this round go the way you thought? I think the entire second round was like almost one tier of guys, and there's a lot of talent there, but it could have gone any way. Was there any surprises or steals that you guys thought occurred here?
We talked about it already, but I think too many tight ends going out of the second round, but that's just
too many, they shouldn't have been taken.
Yeah, I think you could have probably got them in the third round, honestly.
I don't know.
Who went?
I was looking.
I would be shocked if these owners hold on to them until they pan out.
Yeah, it's possible. But I don't think you could have gotten them. I mean, I was looking at Sam Laporta with the 212 if he hadn't gone to Zell earlier.
Yeah.
But what about you, Landon? Did you think there was any shockers?
No. I mean, I think Will Levis kind of fell into Geoff's lap at that. I mean, that's great value where he went, in my opinion. If he can end up being the starting quarterback, next year, possibly this year, who knows? But yeah, I mean, not many surprises. I think Chase Brown maybe went a little higher than I was thinking he would go, but other than that, really nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I
agree. I think Levis
Brown on the turn.
What'd you say?
I said I was hoping for Chase Brown on the turn for the third
round. Your third rounder? Yeah. Izzy was a great pick, though.
I had 3.
Yeah. No, I thought Izzy. I mean, I was looking to try to take Izzy with my pick. I thought Roshan went to go early.
He's a phenomenal athlete, right? Izzy, just amazing. Just a terrible landing spot. Given all the talent we have, and it's it's one of those players I couldn't pass up on the talent to where even though he might not get playing time. So we'll see, right? I mean, the reason I picked him up was because Brees is obviously coming off an injury, so you don't really know what the situation is or what that's going to look like there. I got Michael Carter, so you just got to beat him out essentially, which I think he could, and we'll see. Donovan Knight. He shined last year.
Third round, was there any? I thought Mims was a very good value at the 3-1.
Yeah, I was.
Anybody else?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
I was I had thought about possibly if I wanted, to go if I was my 2-2 pick, I had possibly thought about going Marvin Mims. I think he's going to be a great dynasty pick, but I went a different route, and seeing him drop that far was, I think, a fantastic value.
Yeah, I mean, Hyatt dropped obviously a lot too. It's good value in the third round. But obviously a busy wide receiver room in the New York Giants. He's obviously smaller framed. He's kind of a trick pony, if you will. It wasn't somebody that I was high on, given all those reasons I just mentioned, but a lot of other people seem to be high on him.
Yeah. We'll see. Zach Evans and Sean Tucker were two guys who weren't on the top of my list, but there were a lot of experts who thought both of those guys had a lot of talent, and Sean Tucker dropped really because of health issues that who knows where it goes from there, but he's definitely talented. What else do you guys want to talk about here? Anything else you guys want to talk about, or are we closing up shop?
No, I mean, for me personally, the third round was a disaster. I knew I had like the later picks, but like just one after another was like person that I wanted, player that I wanted, player that I wanted. So it was very frustrating to see. So I kind of had to take what was left.
Yeah, I mean, all the guys that I was targeting on waivers that were still out there after the draft got picked up. So that's kind of a bummer.
Waivers. Who are you targeting?
Charlie Jones is definitely a guy that I liked a lot that I was looking at. He was picked up. It was Cincy, right? So we don't know what's necessarily going to happen with Higgins or Boyd after this year. So somebody that I kind of liked.
I'll trade him for a second right now if you want to do it.
Second? No. I mean, you got him for basically a fourth rounder, so no.
All right. Throwing it out there.
And then Deuce Vaughn, just another guy. I mean, again, we don't know what the running back situation is going to look like in Dallas. I spoke about that earlier. So, given that it's only Pollard to beat, he's going to get some time if the backfield stays the same, I imagine, right? And Eric Hall, another pickup, super talented, super athletic. I like that pickup a lot. Somebody I was targeting, obviously, because I have Taylor. Always like the handcuff at the top backs if I can, but
Grossman, you spent a lot of money on.
I don't have space.
I spent a lot of money. I had no idea what anybody was gonna spend that on, and I just don't know that there's going to be a lot of really worthwhile guys.
My fab dollars. Sell you some of my fab dollars for Amon-Ra St. Brown. How about that?
We'll talk later. All right, who do you guys think, putting aside the draft, who do you guys think is the wild card team in our league? A team that could make the playoffs, could make a good run, or could, end up being one of the bottom teams? Is there anybody who you look at that?
Yeah, I mean, Landon's team looks pretty good. I've looked at it a few times. His team looks pretty nice.
Which team is that?
Landon's. He's probably
he's got those
top
young guns.
3 type of team, I feel like, if things go right.
Oh, thank you.
Kind of the dark horses, I feel like maybe Zell or Ed's team looks pretty solid. He's got a solid wide receiver core, and depending on what happens with Rodgers, if he's able to have some success with New York, then that could be beneficial to him for a year, maybe 2.
Who do you guys think is the first maybe older team who starts trading their way and realizing they gotta get younger and rebuild? If at all, if any.
I got some old guys. I got some old guys who are concerning for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say Gio.
You have some, but those are like very clear, like Hopkins, where it's like really old guys. I think like teams like Chris or Matt, both of those guys could easily make the playoffs, but they also could start 0-4, and like then you see them selling Eckler and CMC and all
Oh,
of
Chris
those.
is gonna have to sell Jalen Hurts like within the next 2 years. His team is
You
really
build around
struggling.
Hurts.
I
You gotta-
would think he'd love to. Absolutely.
No?
He's gonna have to get a king's ransom back. He has just, I mean, his best wide receiver is
He
well, he
doesn't
picked
have
up.
wide receivers.
He just got MVS,
Yeah.
so you got to be careful.
Yeah. I've been trying to trade for Chubb, trying to give him one of my receivers for him, but the problem
Yeah.
is he doesn't have like a lot of depth, so he can't.
I was willing to give him
trade.
Hopkins for Mingo, straight up. Like, here, take Hopkins, man. It's
He
a good
didn't-
deal.
He rejected it.
Threw it, shot it down.
Really? See,
Yeah.
that's what the weird
Once
thing
Once Hopkins lands on like the Bills or even the Chiefs, like, let me see those offers, boys.
Yeah, the weird thing about our league is there's so many teams where like the decisioning within the roster doesn't make sense. Like Zell's team with Aaron Rodgers, Zell doesn't have a team that's going to be competing with Fino. So like, why do you have Aaron Rodgers on your team? Trade him before his value completely tanks, and try to get a younger QB or some really talented, some draft pick. Like, there doesn't make sense to have some of the mishmash that some of the managers have. But yeah. All right, guys. Anything else before we call it a night?
No, it's just exciting to be back. Talk some Dynasty. It's
Yeah.
just so great. You can talk about it over the summer. Like, no one gives a shit for redraft right now, but Dynasty, it's all the rage.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah,
we
it's a lot
go
of-
into like a 2-month period of nothing but OTA
Guys
hype.
catching touchdowns and in shorts. It's
Love it.
the best.
Just want these
Love it.
guys to
All
get
right.
injured. Get on injury reserve. Let's go.
Get that Puka hype going.
Puka Nakua.
All right, guys. We will call it a night, but we'll be back closer to the season, and everyone have a good night.
Have a nice night. Peace. Miami's probably the place to go.
Yeah. Sorry. My wife. Thursday. Tuesday. Is that Chris is in the audience? I swear to God, if we have to do this a third time. It says recording.
It's still recording, guys.
Oh no, it's not recording you.
It's not recording.
No, it's recording. It's not recording you though. God damn it, Landon.